Go up to this lady. Welcome to the Sports Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Luer, and I'm very excited to be on the line again today, Mr. Michael Payne.
I think you appropriately term it the Wild West. Thanks for your sort of very kind, gracious introduction. This is that I started out as a competitor, not a very successful competitor. I was in the freestyle ski circuit, or hot dogging back then in the 70s,
Right.
and was on the professional circuit in order to, pay for the next flight ticket or the next meal. I had to go and find sponsors. And I was a lot better, shall we say, at finding sponsors than winning any of the competitions. I decided that maybe I should make a career change, and I started representing some of the skiers and doing some of the shows and working with some of the events, and realized that this was the very beginning of the sports marketing industry. If I wasn't going to sort of succeed in collecting gold medals competing, why didn't I go back of house? And I looked around as to what were the leading agencies, and there were effectively two. Mark McCormack's IMG, that focused on the athlete endorsement, and a company called West Nally, set up by a leading TV commentator, Peter West, and a young PR entrepreneur, Patrick Nally.
Yes.
And they were focused on the event marketing side. And that was the first opportunity I was able to get to go into the industry, and at the very sort of ground level, learn the rudiments of event marketing, from the early days of test match cricket to the tobacco sponsorship with Benson and Hedges and their series stage, putting together the first ever World Athletics Championships in Helsinki. Patrick Nally and the team were also creating the very foundations of sports marketing. It was an awful lot of money at the time. Compared to today, maybe a bit of a sort of embarrassment. I think the big deals then were going at around $15 million for 4 years.
Right.
The most recent top deals that I have driven, just to compare, would be over $500 million
For one cycle.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, times changed, times evolved, but it wasn't until we bought Visa and 3M into the Olympic program that we really got the momentum that people felt, no, there was something there that was working.
Yeah.
And what was most interesting about Visa and 3M was they had no history of sports marketing. And so they approached this with a completely fresh perspective, rather than being in the promotions department and saying, oh, yeah, we got a sports event. Okay, go and stick the name on the venue, go and get a couple of tickets.
Yeah.
And if you were lucky, do an ad hoc promotion. They came at this with the view of, we want to transform the brand image of our company. And we think the Olympics could be a very good vehicle to achieve that. Is rolling out its sort of global footprint beyond China, very much on the back of the Olympics. But they are critically involved in the overall delivery operation of the games in ways that probably people will only begin to understand when they see Tokyo 2020. Obviously, one part of Alibaba's partnership revolves around the cloud. And the whole future of cloud technology. They're working with the IOC's broadcast operations, OBS, to create the Olympic cloud. And on the second tier broadcast platforms, from the mobile and digital, the whole broadcast distribution will, for the first time in Tokyo, be done through the cloud. In a way that the IOC is even saying that by 2028, there might no longer be the need to have an international broadcast center, because the cloud will take over the whole distribution engagement of the signals back to the main broadcasters. So that's, one transformative example of what Alibaba's doing. As a company, they're also at the forefront of data digital management, and increasingly becoming the backbone to the IOC's whole data digital vision, looking at everything from the selling of tickets and how that's transformed into a digital spectator journey, to how you would eventually be creating engagement one-on-one with the billion-plus Olympic fans around the world. Once we got full control over the scandal, once we understood exactly, what the issues, the crimes were, we then looked to how could we transform this and basically put what would take 30 years of reform through the system in 6 months. And that's exactly what we, eventually did, where I remember I was commuting back and forth to America every week to meet with the CEOs of the top partners, the broadcasters, because they were under tremendous pressure from the media to withdraw and pull their sponsorship. And then you would have had a domino effect of everything just collapsing.
Yeah.
And with the CEO of, I think Paul Allaire, the CEO of Xerox at the time, and he said to me, "So Michael, the real measure of this is whether you can turn the crisis to your advantage." Mm-hmm. And that's what we did. And as brutal as it was going through the first part of 99, I think any of us who were involved with it would actually willingly go through it again, knowing we could get the results that we did in terms of transforming the Olympic movement. And so that was just as a key learning that when you've got a major crisis or a problem, you're firefighting to save the organization, but how can you take advantage of the situation and do and achieve things that otherwise would be impossible? It was a sort of a small group, but you were having to sort of turn around an oil tanker, and as I say, effectively getting turkeys to vote for Christmas because the reform mechanisms that the membership and
the lawyer said, did you have on a call during the Olympics?
What? Oh, we had a lot of lawyers, but I mean, actually, often the case wasn't law that got the company to back down.
Okay,
it was public relations. So, we had a very high-profile public fight with American Express, and we caught American Express on, one or two novelty initiatives, shall we say? And we basically said, look, forget the legal. We just wrote to the CEO of American Express and said, you've got 48 hours to withdraw this. If you don't withdraw it, this is what we're going to do. We will hold a press conference. I think it's going to be in Hong Kong because that's where it was happening. We will announce that what you're undertaking is a fraud designed to deceive the public. And here's the proof. And we will have 4 Olympic medalists cutting up your card in front of TV.
Oh, wow. Nice one.
It took about 2 hours for the program to be withdrawn. Or you had another case, I think it was Burger King against McDonald's. Burger King CEO was launching his biography, a bookshop. So we lined up 4 or 5 Olympians to go and stand up in the queue to get the book signed. They tipped off all the media to come along to have some fun. And the moment they got to the front of the queue, they unveiled, nice banners, referring to the CEO as being a cheat and a parasite.
Wow.
And you circulate, 2 or 3 incidents like that. You make sure that all the advertising agencies are briefed. If you step over the line, we'll come back to you.
Actually, I'll get you.
In ways that, because it is the Olympics, because there is no advertising on the stadium, because it's the value proposition, gave us a moral if you want high ground credibility, that proved very effective. I think the outlook for the Olympics is very positive. And, the broader outlook for sport as people, have more time to consume or participate in sport. But, how companies, sponsors, or media groups engage with sport, is very different from a decade or two ago. And that's very exciting. But you've also got to continually be looking to sort of reinventing the narrative and being very, forward thinking in terms of how do you build community, how do you create engagement. The outlook is strong, and anybody wanting to enter into the industry, I think, is coming in at a great time.
Yep, I would agree.